living in an area whereby you're vulnerable or vulnerability is high when it comes to either flooding or drought. What should people do or not do? Like planting next to the river or spraying chemicals next to the river? What are the do's and don'ts in this case?
Okay, I'll weigh in quickly as it relates to the planting aspect of it.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, for example, looking at the agriculture sector, and like you say, some of these communities, there's a wealth of information out there, especially when it comes to when you should actually start planting.
Yeah.
Right? So for the most part, and this is something that they've already put out an advisory that, listen, this year again, it might be another long dry season.
Yeah.
So these are certain precautions you can take as an individual within these communities, especially as it relates to when you want to sow your seeds.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
And in addition, if you're living in an area that has been prone to flooding, or in the north where the rainfall is lower, be aware of the climatic conditions that exist in the area. Prepare for it. Do not sit back and say, oh, I don't have to worry about anything, especially in the warning that was given out that we have likely to have another drought. Farmers in the north should be thinking about how should I adjust my planting season for that? What should I do to get a better crop, right? In the south, we always have excessive rainfall. If you live next to Riverman, it's likely you'll have a flood. No, wait, and then I'll have a Nemo, please go help me. And
Yeah,
you understand?
Yeah.
Right? So this, like I said, all of us have a role to play. And if we start to think and be proactive in protecting ourselves against the vagrancies of climate change, then we'll be in a better position.
Yeah.
What is our biggest threat? Is it water quantity or water quality?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Can I rank them right now? Because we really take, let's use a closer example that people know. We watch the California droughts, and we see how at some times there's a cutoff for how much water you can get, when you could use the water, what you can use it for. We had our first, I wouldn't say it's the first, but last year we really had everybody paying attention to the extended dry season or drought that took place. Are we headed in that direction where we'll have to control water supply?
Let me say a thing I always say when I come on these, because we are only here once in 365 days, right? Yeah. I keep saying we have a lot of water generally in Belize.
Yeah.
And so that answers the quantity question.
Okay.
But if we do not manage our water resources properly, we'll have a lot of dirty water. And that is what is happening to us right now.
Wow.
Right? You can see it in the New River, you can see it in the Macau River.
Yeah.
You have seen it in the water supply in Belize City where we had some problems with iron, right? And so we are not paying attention to our source water, right? The water quantity is a little bit out of our control because the climatic conditions that dictates that, right? But the quality is well within our control.
Okay.
Let me tell you who's telling on you though, not you, us, sorry. who's telling on us? The coral reef. And I've always mused at the fact that we take so lightly that we are seeing the agricultural runoff effects on the reef and even our waste, our sewer waste, the effects on our reef. So we know that basically we're flushing our toilets on our reef.
Right.
And we are planting and using chemicals, and all that stuff is still going out to a reef. So we know, like I'm saying, if there's anybody who's telling on us in terms of our bad water practices, it's that beautiful system out there that we're proud of. It's two levels. It's individually, like the farmer himself, but it's also looking at structurally what's in place. What are we doing in terms of putting in mechanisms to help us be more serious about protecting our waterways and our water quality especially?
I think one such activity you'd say is one of the reasons why we're here today. The whole sensitization, the whole awareness. Because when we were out there waiting to come on, I was looking at the segment. And I said, as a nation, as a country, naturally Belizeans were quite resilient. Right? That's a given. But it's important in order to enact change. it's not necessarily about the infrastructure, it's more something personal, right? To come up with some of these best management practices. And we try our best, once within the whole 365 days of the year. But it's important when we take part in these sessions, when we go on these road shows for World Water Day, to build that awareness. And we're targeting schools. It will be culminated with the session down south. So awareness is important, because without building that knowledge, building that capacity, and it's at all tiers of society. It's not only one segment of society that's responsible to maintain and look at water quality and quantity, especially in this changing climate. We all have a responsibility to, of course, build on this natural resource and protect this natural resource.
I agree, Dr. Gladden. And,
well said.
Going back to the mechanisms, there's the Department of Environment that is working. There's the Ministry of Health. We have the 5 Cs also to participate, but we have also the National Integrated Water Resources Authority, which the law has been enacted, but since 2015, but they have not put in the authority in place. And this authority has all the legal teeth to manage our water resources, quantity and quality. But that's a different discussion.
You can come back for that one. Give us more.
Then you're here 2 times.
But even, day-to-day practices, right? So we turn on, that's what we were saying, we didn't have a sink to use on set, but one of the key parts in your prevention for COVID-19 is having clean water to wash your hands. We really take it for granted when we open up that pipe, that water's always going to be there and it's going to be safe.
Well, just to chip in on that, Belize Water Services has been doing a pretty good job of providing water and potable water to most of the municipalities in this country. And going back to climate change and the water, Belize Water Services gets its water from the rivers and from the underground. And if we do not monitor those properly, and if we do not manage our obstruction from it, then we put those water sources at risk. And that is compounded with the changes that are possible from climate change. Right? So we really need to start to pay attention to our water.
Or even the affordability of potable water that we get to enjoy.
The more dirty the water, the poorer quality water that the Beetlebest takes in, it costs more to convert to potable water, which you do not like to hear. We will not have to raise the price of water. You see, there's a connection with everything.
It is. But it all boils down to how we take care of our waterways. Because if we're getting water from underground and we're not taking care of business, then we tend to throw the blame that clean water now they come out. But there's so many things that we can do as human beings to try and make things better for our communities. Now it leads me to World Water Day. Now let's talk about the activities that will be coming up there. And so let's hear about World Water Day and what we should expect.
Like we have mentioned, World Water Day, we don't only celebrate just the actual day. We have a host of activities that leads up to the day, and in that host of activities we have different poster competitions. We used to do the poetry competition, but we do it year in and out. So those don't go unrecognized also. We also recognize those. We have a poetry competition book where we compile all our poems from previous years from participants who have participated in our poetry competition. This year we are focusing on the poetry competition. It's It's available to our secondary schools. Students or children who want to participate in a level from standard 4 to 6. The guideline is for them to come with their creative and an educational poster, something that will depict water and climate change. And it has to be an original piece. However, the deadline was March 4th, so we'll be judging the posters tomorrow actually. Yes, and we will select our winner. The winner will be announced, and they will be awarded at the World Water Day event. We've also had the radio trivia, which is broadcasting on Love FM. So there's a factual question that airs twice daily on water and climate change. and it airs from Monday to Friday. And on Saturday, the public has the opportunity to call in. Whosoever calls in first and they answer the questions correctly, they are awarded $100.
What?
So there's 2 more Saturdays for them to win for anybody to win $100.
Yeah.
It's this Saturday and next week Saturday. So you can listen to the questions that airs through Monday to Friday.
Okay.
And on the day itself, the 20th, when you'll be commemorating
Yes.
it.
Well, before that, we are doing a host of roaming presentations.
Okay.
And like Dr. Gladden had mentioned, we want to inform everyone. So it's not just for the general public and for adults, but also we want to inform students. We want to inform the children because everyone has a role to play.
Yeah.
So we are visiting the schools. This year we are visiting Kaya District and Orange Rock. So our roaming presentations, we have our organizations. They prepare presentations of 15 to 20 minutes that we compile together and we present at the schools. This year we'll be focusing at Kaya Christian Academy, Baptist High School, and Our Lady of Fatima RC in Belmopan and Kaya District.
Okay.
On Friday the 13th, we'll be in Orange Walk District, and we'll be visiting Yo Creek, Muffles High School, and Belize High School of Agriculture.
Okay.
So, and this week, of course, we're also doing our media appearances. So it's kind of like a media blitz. So we are trying to flood all the stations so that everyone can hear what the importance of water is.
Yeah.
Next week, which is the 18th, we will have our water forum. And it's a panel discussion after the presentations from our organization. And it's open for a panel discussion for the students and the public who will be there. It will be at the Bliss Institute. And the panel in the panel discussion, it's available for questions to be asked on water and climate change. Our presenters are the organizations members who are Belize Water Services, Ministry of Rural Development, Hydrology Unit, Climate Change, and the others.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a presentation from everyone, and based on the presentation, it's open for
When
questions.
is that going to be?
It's going to be on March 18th, next week, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay.
In the morning.
In the morning from 9 to 1.
Okay.
Yes. And on Friday of March the 20th, that's our World Water Day event. It will be hosted this year at the...
It's a pool party, right?
Yes.
Everybody can go.
Everybody's invited.
Let's enjoy the water while we have it.
It will be at Punta Gorda Sporting Complex.
Okay.
And it's open for the public. It's open for schools. It's open for everyone to come by. We will have booth displays by all our organizations. Different organizations that deal with water resource management.
Okay.
We've also extended our invitation to, I think it's about 3 of our other partners that aren't in government, but non-organizations, which are Plenty Belize and Tide and Hope Springs. So the public can come out, schools can come out, everybody's invited to come out and see our displays and what we have to say about water and the importance.
Nice.
I just want to highlight one more activity.
Tell us.
We, for the last 4 years, we have been having a World Water Day award that has been given to a special person, an organization, business for participation in water resources. And this year, again, we are going to have the 4th one this year, right? The 4th award this year.
Okay.
And that will be chosen this week also.
So other than just walking away from this conversation, understanding that our water is important, we need to protect it, what can everybody who's watching at home do differently today to help to ensure that we have safe water for the future?
At home, I would say conserve water.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the noise that we have a lot of water. Conserve water. And because conserving water have implications for cost of water.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. So conserve water and be mindful of how you dispose of your waste.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Yes.
And there's quite a bit that people can participate in. And do you have this stuff online that people can access it?
Well, they can visit our Facebook page.
Okay.
We have a World Water Day page.
Okay.
And so it's available, World Water Day Belize.
Okay.
Also, our organization pages through the
They have
different
the
ministries and so far we have the information on our Facebook page, and we have been putting them on our websites as well.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead now and take our break. And when we come back, we're going to be getting the details of Leadercast 2020. So please stay tuned.
And welcome back. And we're now moving into our final segment for the morning, the 5th annual Leadercast 2020. I'm looking forward to it. And in to tell us all about it is Dr. Dione Chamberlain Miranda, who is the Managing Director of Chamberlain Consulting Limited, and Trudy Joseph, who is the Chief Coordination Consultant at Chamberlain Consulting Limited. Good morning, you lovely ladies, and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
You know, I nearly, for some reason or the other, thought I would throw in another surname for Trudy.
Why are we doing
I'm just messing. I'm just
trying
messing.
to get rid of them slowly, you know?
Okay.
Annual Leadercast.
So can I be
2020.
the positive disruption here?
Exactly.
Thank you very much. I love that theme. I love it. Positive disruption. We need
yes.
so much of that in so many different sectors, in so many different ways. And that's the theme that Leadercast is going to be under this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
You know, and in listening to your previous segment, talking about the coronavirus and all of that, that's one of the things that we're really looking forward to, the fact that leaders have to understand that it's necessary to continue leading.
Yeah.
We can't throw up our hands and cancel everything that's going on in our lives. There are going to be challenges, but this year's Leadercast is specifically about how do we continue to lead despite the disruption, but positively and taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
And so there are many different innovative things. And one of them that I got impressed with yesterday was an airline that sent out a notice, not saying that they're going to stop.
Yep.
Fly.
What they said is that I want you all to know that because I care, we will start cleaning better than we used to. This is our new cleaning routine.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're now putting in HEPA air filters throughout the system to clean it up. And this is the innovative line of thinking that we need to have. And I hope that Belize's tourism environment realizes that send out the messages of what you're doing to make sure that our visitors are safe.
Yeah.
And the fact that Belize is a safe location.
Wow.
Not just accepting all of the cancellations, because that's what we're doing, you know. We're sitting back and going, oh, they cancel, oh, we're losing bookings.
Yeah.
Why do we allow things like this to happen? Negativity and all of these things and disruptions will happen every day. There will be hurricanes, there will be acts of God, there will be natural disasters, there will be everything that will occur. Our resiliency as leaders are where the difference will be made. And we're excited about this because we have 9 of the top speakers in the world who will be speaking about how they've overcome the challenges of disruptions and how they've moved on. And we'll also have that Belizean flavor there with different people coming in and talking during sessions and all of that in reference to maybe different things that they've done to deal with disruptions. And so we're excited about the fact that it's going to have that international flair, definitely. And it is a simulcast. They're not going to be here live. We're going to be, I want everybody to know that because I've seen people say that we're marketing, we're trying to do false advertising. It's not. 5 years is what Leadercast has been happening in Belize at the Biltmore Plaza, May 7th. It's a yearly event. People have booked their lives every 5 years.
Every year.
Following a Leadercast, people book their presence. But this year, it's about talking about a very, very relevant topic. But Trudy is the mother of Leadercast. I'm going to let her go there with it.
I'll definitely get to that. But you know, you mentioned some stuff there a while ago that really got to me in terms of we're seeing a negative situation going on, but nobody is getting how to make that negative a positive, especially for our country. And moving on now to the 5th Leadercast 2020. What do people get out of it? Let's talk about from then to now. This is the 5th one. Let's talk about how good that was for people here in Belize.
Well, first of all, because it's an annual event, we have to figure out ways to get people excited that it's not the same old, oh, I'm just going to be there, I'm just going to be watching the speakers. We have activity and events, like Ms. Dion said, that we bring it here to Belize because not everything that happens worldwide might resonate with us yet.
Yes.
If you look at, like we said, positive disruption, this year we're already disrupting. Normal Leadercast takes place on a Friday. Leadercast this year will be on a Thursday.
Sweet.
So at the end of the day, you're supposed to be pumped up. And maybe when you go to work on Friday, instead of waiting until Monday and you have forgotten a lot of what you have derived from Leadercast, you'll be pumped up and ready on Friday for you to be able to share that information with your team. Because it's not about that one-day event. Leadercast or being a leader is throughout the year. And you have heard us say so many times that leadership is not a position, it's an action. And so we have our Monday motivational messages that we send out to remind people that whatever is happening right now, like our the one that we spoke about Monday was actually about politics.
Yeah.
And people say don't speak about religion, don't speak about politics, don't even talk about people's children. But it is a reality. So it's about making all of these reality positive. And we have had people, like we do our returnee rate. If it is that you had been there before, you get a lower price than those who are just coming. And with that returnee rate, we have people, as soon as Leadercast is done, okay, please book me for Leadercast next year, because they are sure that that Leadercast will happen whether or not, whatever is occurring in the world.
Wow.
Let's go back to the theme for a second. The reason when I saw it, I said, man, what for leaders especially, that's such a great theme. Here's why: we all have disruptions in our lives. I mean, you have disruptions in your day. It just happens all the time. But the real test of a good leader is how they handle a crisis or how they handle a disruption that takes place. And it can go both ways. You can either cause chaos on everyone else, just feed into the frenetic energy and make everybody just on their toes and miserable, or you can swing it into something positive. But that takes a skill set that not everyone has been equipped with. What will Leadercast do to help us all be able to be the type of leaders that takes disruptions and make them into something positive?
I like what you mentioned about feeding into the frenzy.
Yeah.
You have to remember that we give off what we've eaten. The only way you're going to have high cholesterol is if you've eaten terrible food, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing, we feed into frenzy, but we feed off of the frenzy, and we feed off of negativity and negative people and negative surroundings and negative situations occurring.
Media, yes.
What Leadercast and events like Leadercast do, it actually feeds you the positivity so that you can have two, because all of us we have a positive dog and a negative dog, right? And the positive dog will eat and the negative dog will eat. And let me tell you, the negative dog has a lot more food to eat. The positive dog is out there looking for pieces and little tidbits of whatever to eat. What leaders will get from this is not only mumbo jumbo about kindness and all that kind of. These are people who have had to market beyond. One of the people here, he started out as a janitor. And he's the person who actually created the Flaming Hot Cheetos that we all love.
Really?
Which is now the Flaming Hot Cheetos that is used in burritos, in tacos, in gourmet restaurants, everywhere. They crush it, they fry chicken. What he did was he took his current position, realized he was a Latino, wanted his Latino blood and Hispanic to be flowing through a brand which didn't have it. And he moved up from being janitor to being VP and designer for this actual product, right? So it tells you that you can walk into somewhere, but you have to have the mindset to achieve for abundance. And of course for gratitude, because things will happen. I mean, I could remember the day that I walked into my house and I found that Hurricane Earl had destroyed everything and there was 4 feet of water in there. You want to know what's my positive? I got a whole new set of furniture and a new car. I wouldn't have got that because I would have had to stick with that same furniture for another 20 years, you know what I mean? Yes, it was disruptive, it was painful, oh my God, everybody who went through that. But I could tell you, there were people in this country who treated you with kindness and courtesy. The insurance agents, for instance, who came into your home and they saw you distraught as ever, and they were kind. Or even the people who in your neighborhood who came and said, you know, I have a mattress I could lend you, because they knew that none of us in Ladeville, for instance, had mattresses to sleep on. Those were the kindnesses. I have a friend in Benke who loaned me his car, and then because we had to catch a, you know, Abilesians have gone through a lot of disruption, and we have resilience, yes. However, our leadership needs to take, and I'm talking yourselves, you have to lead yourself to that, and realizing that I need to make this happen for me, for my children, for everybody. So I believe that in every single facet of Belizean life, there is a leader who needs some level of motivation, some spark, some interest, something. And I'll tell you that every day as somebody listens to your show or listens to something is a seed that we're planting that will germinate into something greater. And that's our purpose. Not a Leadercast one-day event. It's really to create critical mass. Yes.
Dr. Chamberlain, you know, as you're talking, Marlene, you know I behave like that. I see things. You know, one of the things that, about us is that positive happens every day. It happens every day. But some people might say it takes a skill to recognize the positive. You mentioned something there very important. The hurricane came, your house was destroyed with flood. You didn't have a car, you didn't have a sofa. But you got those things eventually. People do get it as well. but the positive part of that is hard to see. How can we change our mental from thinking or looking at something that's positive and seeing it as a negative to really see a positive as what it is?
We have to feed our soul. We have to feed our minds. And we have to feed it with good things. We can't continue to eat bad food, bad things into our mind non-stop. And that's why a lot of times we're looking for some level of positive news, because we really need to hear something good is occurring. I mean, I found out that I have good neighbors, that I had good friends, that I had people who loved me. You don't know that every day because we're so caught up in this busy day and this busy life. You go home, you're just mill. You wake up, you bathe, you change everything. We don't even realize that having water pour out of the tap means something, like the people in San Pedro who now they appreciate water on a daily basis. We become used to it. We expect it. In life, we have too many expectations and don't realize the benefits of some of the awesome things that we get, you know? It's friendships, relationships.
Sorry, I wanted to add into that it is actually the shift in culture, the culture change. Whenever it is you have an organization like with us, we help each other out. Like, we normally bring food to work because we don't want to go out. Let's say we have a meeting at 12 and it's going to last until 1. That's not the time for you to go and find food. So we help each other. Like, I had my blood count go very low, and so when I'm eating now, Miss Dion is watching in my plate, not for her to be like a hawk, but for her to help me, that I will continue in order for me to be able to improve, because I cannot come here on Channel 5 and then I fall asleep on her. What reflection is that as it relates to what our company is trying to portray? So Leadercast in itself, even in speaking about the speakers, we have volunteers that work with us annually. I used to be a volunteer and now I am leading this event. And that is what it is all about. Like Richard Montanez, when he was a janitor, he didn't see himself as a CEO or as a VP, but he knew that he had something inside of him that he could actually continue. So when we look at our volunteers and even the people that sponsor or our sponsors, they have to be of a certain caliber, and they need to ensure that they provide the vision and the values of what Leadercast is all about. So we want it to be seen throughout, and not just for us to be able to say, okay, we're having an event, you come. We want people to know what Leadercast is all about and what leadership is all about.
So it is an international event, and it's simulcast in Belize. But you also have you've also bolstered the event with some Belizean speakers as well.
Not speakers, they actually come in and just comment on stuff, and they guide the event and all of that. Leadercast goes very quickly. Leadercast is moving. I'll be honest with you, starting at 8 and by 4 o'clock it's over and you're like, whoa, when did that happen? You know? It is really moving fast. However, you do need to have that side of it, but the range of speakers is what I really like, is the fact that we have Magic Johnson as our beginning. And I mean, well, actually he's going to be the last because they leave the best for last, right? But so he's talking about his business pursuits, his challenges, I mean, his disruption when he was diagnosed. I mean,
with
that's
HIV
a disruption
in a time where, I mean, it's not like it is now. There's stigma now, but back then when he was diagnosed, it was completely different.
Exactly, and he rose, and guess what? We're not afraid of him. He made it understandable that it's, you know, that we can, and that we can survive, and we can live, and we can move on, and we can be positive. Because I could tell you, that's a disruption if your doctor ever came and told you that. You know, I mean, that would be, that's it. You know, I just look at your face and I could see that it's not even you being that, and that's what you're feeling. And then there's Andy Stanley, who comes from the side of the religion, where he's a pastor, but then he puts very practical business into it. One of my favorites is Dr. Henry Cloud. He's a psychologist, and he speaks to leadership, but psychology. And I love the fact of understanding psychology when you're doing business, because you understand many different things.
But like business is working with people.
Yes,
and psychology is understanding human behavior.
And say, for instance,
why did we ever try to extricate it?
Like, in our business, you know, people like to call us and say, can you do a one-day training? And we're like, we don't do one-day trainings. They say, why? Because it takes 21 days to change or break a habit. It takes 6 months to create an addiction. It takes 9 years to institutionalize. We are not going to take money from you and give you no results. That is unfair. So anybody who comes into an organization and says, let me give you a 1 hour thing and whatever. If a company has been doing training non-stop, then yes, it's a bolster, it's a continue. You can do it
building.
one day, but you can't just jump in there and change a behavior created in 15 years
In one day.
in one day. And people have unrealistic expectations. They want, will I be fixed after Leadercast? Are you messed up? I mean, how messed up are you? How long did it take to become messed up?
But it's not even messed up. It's that's behaviors that have been ingrained, and you don't change them overnight.
And it's a
so
challenge.
what it is, it's a motivation to want to make that change. I'd imagine.
And practical steps.
Yeah.
Practical steps from those who have done it and done it differently than you.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, for that day, I go in there and I'm a student, and you should see notes. I mean, oh my God, my notes are going crazy because I am absorbing so much after that. But when I'm done, I'm like thinking. And what I love about Leadercast also is because it's a Leadercast community, you can write them back, ask a question, I didn't quite understand that storyline. Yeah. They will then put out additional messages during the year that address your topic. Yeah. And so it's very important that we also look around the room and see who are like you. Because then you can actually join friendships with people in Dangriga, in PG.
Build a network.
The networking is phenomenal because you're sitting in a room with people who think like you, who aren't thinking it's a mumbo jumbo situation, who think that, you know what, we need to be our brother's keeper. We need to learn from each other, and we're learning
Who's the target audience here? Are you looking for just people who are supervisors or managers or heads of companies?
Anyone with potential for leadership. And like we said, that can come from the janitor, or it's actually a refresher or a shift in thinking for a CEO or a general manager. And so we have people in the room that are junior employees, but the managers or supervisors or HR see potential in them. And they're able to actually live up to that expectation. The beauty about 9 speakers plus those in the room is that you might not agree with what Magic Johnson is saying, but Zoma might resonate with you or what it is that you're going through. We have had people say, how did they know my situation? How did they know I was stuck dealing with this situation? And it's like, because they're speaking from their life. They're not talking about just scripting. And when you get to share in that room, we always tell people, you might have competing companies in the room, but what we do is we're talking about cooperation. We're not talking about competitiveness. It's not about me and my company. It is about what can we all learn together. What can I learn from you that you have tried and tested and it works? So it's all about building that partnership, relationship, networking, like you had mentioned.
What I love is that our sponsors, they know that they're not allowed to sell anything in the room. So this isn't about boots anywhere, because we tell them this is not about you, this is not about your company. This is about your leadership. And they sponsor because they know that they will be paying for somebody. So for everybody who pays, by the way, everybody who comes is a sponsor. Once you pay for a ticket, you're sponsoring somebody else. So you're automatically a sponsor. And besides that, we have our presenting sponsor this year, Galen University. Wow. We have Angelos Press, who's been with us for 5 years, Best Western, Night and Day Studios, Madisco, and Digi, who've been with us for 5 years, Atlantic Bank, BZ Productions, Sol, Smart, Avant-Garde, BL, and Prestige Productions. And by the way, we don't grow the sponsorship. The sponsorship has been with us from day one.
Wow.
And the reason is because you have to be following these values and these behaviors within your organization. And these are people who think beyond themselves, who have integrity, authenticity, discipline, excellence. Put people first, because people do our work. People like to call people their most valued asset. People are not assets, they're your competitive advantage. Assets deteriorate. Assets get written off. Now, they're your competitive advantage, you know?
You know that there are people watching just saying, man, listen, you're going to pay a lot of money, go into a room, hear people talk positive, but then you're going to go back into the same environment and nothing is going to change.
But that's your decision, right?
No, agreed. But then you are talking about someone choosing to invest.
Correct.
Where have
I like that word.
Seen,
say that again.
Where have you seen the actual effects of having this program run for 5 years? Have you had people start businesses, and I'm talking Belizeans now, because you say that it's kind of it's become a habit or practice for certain people to participate all the time. Are you now seeing 5 years in the effects of this investment in what you call positive food for your brain?
Yes, we have. And actually, just to mention, like we had a gentleman, he lost his job. He had been to 2 Leadercast events. He lost his job and he said, I definitely want to come to this event. And he found his $250, which is the returnee rate, for him to be able to attend. At that said Leadercast, he got a job.
Wow.
Because again, remember, we have HR personnel, we have people who are general managers, and because you're there talking and you speak about your story, he was speaking to this person during lunch. He wasn't trying to get a job, he was just speaking. The person asked him what was going on, and that person fell in love with him. He got his job at Leadercast.
Excellent.
We had a fruit vendor from Hattieville who, because we do scholarships, because everybody gets up, you know, and a fruit vendor from Hattieville, she wrote in to us and she asked us if the possibility, and she sent in all her data and the committee vetted her and everything. And she came, and after that she said, you know, I'm growing it, I'm doing bigger, I'm going to be taking this to the next level. And I keep mentioning Cordelia, our other fruit vendor, Henke. She hasn't come to a Leadercast, but she's always catered for it. Biltmore has been kind enough to allow us to get fruits,
apples
and whatever, and she's always, and every year, and she's already contacted us from New York where she lives and says, you know, my son is waiting to hear from you, and you know, you're gonna get us all connected up and hooked up. I mean, and Leadercast, like she mentioned, is for people from, the youngest we've ever had attend, I think, was 12.
Oh, wow.
And the eldest we've ever had was 85, I
which
think
was
it was.
last year.
Okay.
And so we've had from 12 to 85, and so young children enjoy it. And afterwards, by the way, those are the ones that we go and talk to each other. So what did you get and whatever? And then some of them will tell you, well, I didn't like that man because that man, and what I love the most is when you talk to people after, because their viewpoint is something you didn't see. And then you realize, oh my God, they saw something so relevant that you did not capture yourself. And then you learn again, another learning experience.
And it's shared perspectives.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of shared perspectives, so Magic Johnson is your big speaker for this year's Leadercast. But tell us about some of the other, perhaps lesser known ones that are really going to be interesting to hear from.
Like we had mentioned, we have Richard Montanez, and so he is the VP actually of PepsiCo, and we have Bozoma.
Is that the Cheetos guy?
Yes, the Cheetos guy.
David Cheeto.
Story.
Bozoma St. John, actually, she manages some crazy type of business, including, I think it's Uber. And she came on board with Uber when Uber was getting negative backlash, when people were being raped, and she took on being marketing for them. And normally, if we know a company is going down, that's not the time we want to jump on board. But she was able to actually make the shift. And they asked her, like, why did you do it? And she said, I am up for the challenge because it means that I will see my growth more rapidly. See, for us, we want to enter in when things are going good and we just come and reap the sweets. You know, that's the case. But you had also mentioned your 2 favorites. So
Tell us.
Yes, I really like Henry Cloud. He's my, I've missed him actually. He was on like 4 years ago, and I bought a lot of his books and all of that, and I read about him. And what I loved about Henry Cloud is that he spoke about the fact that we have introverts, you have extroverts, you have pseudo extroverts and pseudo introverts. And from his analysis, I realized that I was a pseudo extrovert because I am bubbly and alive when I'm out in public, but honestly, I prefer my privacy. I want to curl up in that bed by myself with my little book. And that is my happy space.
And then you tell somebody you're an introvert, they're like, come on.
Something's wrong.
And I never understood me before that. And I used to always, and then I always said, like, why is it that people don't understand that I need, you know? And then I always realized I love cocktail parties, and the reason I like cocktail parties, because you only speak for 15 minutes at a time. I can't handle this full drawn out 2-hour, 3-hour conversations, and I realized that
takes a lot.
Yes, and he mentioned about the pseudo introvert, but he also mentioned the fact that the dissonance that we're getting because of the cell phone. And honestly, he talked to me about, talk to me, you see.
Nothing is wrong with that.
About the
but
dopamine.
That's a good author if you feel like
about the
talking
dopamine
to you.
hit that we get from every time this little phone lights up, or we get
The
some kind of notifications, and it's dopamine. But dopamine is what is in marijuana and what is in whiskey, and I prefer to drink a whiskey. You understand me? I prefer that than to be having a little box far away from me create that constant
We're not
speech.
drinking whiskey at work,
Yeah.
John. John is looking at you like, is that, did you drink
Well, let me
whiskey
tell you,
before you
his
came on board?
expectations are a lot different.
But yeah, but you know, but I
The second one?
Yes, and my second one, I think I really am interested in the new buzzword for marketing now. You're no longer marketing
Evangelist.
managers or marketing whatever. You are now
An evangelist.
an evangelist. And I love the new term because isn't it true? I mean, and think about it.
I don't know, there's a whole shift in connotation.
No. Or influencers, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, influencers,
yes.
but you are evangelists because the reality is that what you say is word to people. And I mean, you two have become evangelists. When you all say something, they're like, and Marlene said you should drink, or John said you should drink, you're like, okay, well, I want to taste it then, you know what I mean? And so I like the idea because, you know, marketing has never caught on the way that it should have in Believe.
Yeah.
I think that we believe
We're
advertising.
very antiquated. in
Yeah,
our
we believe in
practice.
advertising. We're very direct in the
Yeah.
messaging, and we don't understand the undertones and all that. But
We're a great
yeah.
field of dreams experiment. We build it and we expect them to come.
Yes, you know. I love that. I feel like I love that.
Sorry,
Feel the dreams
I wanted to
experiment.
also mention about our leader word following, which is something that we do annually. Someone is nominated, and everyone in the room is not aware who that person is until they get there, and we do the award. Now, the beauty about that also is, again, we're having people think about leaders here in Belize, and for our leader word following, it has to be someone that is not being paid to do what it is that they're doing. And again, it ties into the values of leaders, and so having to do with your authenticity, your vision, putting people first. So that person is then the Chamberlain hand is actually then passed on to that person, and so we will be announcing our leader word following at
2020
at that event.
Excellent.
All right. Is there still space available?
Yes, we're running tight now, but yes, there is
How do
space
people
available.
get tickets or reserve their
And
spot?
by the way, scholarships are more available right
Yes,
now.
that's
than
what I
tickets.
wanted to
Sorry
mention.
say
Okay,
that.
great.
We have more
Because we have to have a
scholarship.
match.
Do you nominate someone for a scholarship or they have to apply for themselves?
You write in, you send your letter to leadercastbelize@gmail.com. So leadercastbelize@gmail.com. You send us a brief little letter stating why is it that you would like to attend the event, what do you want to get or gain from being at the event, and we sit together as a panel and we determine who it is that we will offer that scholarship to.
And we have over 100 scholarships every year.
Excellent.
So the reality is that and that's why we're lacking in scholarships right now. We have tickets being sold, but we need to make sure
need to get
that the
some
room
scholars.
because it's not a money making event.
No, it's
It
not.
is an event to be a catalyst and to keep on going. Like Judy mentioned, we do our motivation Mondays. And then our real job is to do this type of work. And then other people in the environment are doing it as well, because Belize is not an island and we don't have enough positive things happen. You know, we need to make sure everybody's doing this at some
That's
point.
right. That's right.
All right,
if
so
you
how do
want
people get in
tickets-
touch if they want to?
For tickets, they can feel free to WhatsApp or text 672-0848. And for your letter, if it is that you would like to apply in to get a free entrance for that day, like I said, is leadercastbelize@gmail.com. So feel free to text us, message, WhatsApp, or send an email. Yes, and remember, Leadercast 2020 is going to be May 7th at the Best Western Plus Belize Biltmore Plaza. It's a Thursday. So
It's a
please don't
positive
come
disruption to
don't
your
come
week,
on
right?
Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in, ladies, and best of luck.
Thank you for having
Lovely.
us.
We're going to
All
go
right.
ahead and take that final break now. When we come back, we'll have our wrap up, so stay tuned.
With over 100 years of service excellence in
back.
Just like that. This morning was excellent. We had some wonderful conversations. Got started with the Ministry of Health in terms of washing hands with the proper technique and safety precautions. Remember, Belize, there's so many things lurking out there, and the only thing we need to do is to learn to better take care of ourselves. So we want to say a big thank you to reps of the Ministry of Health.
I mean, who knew there was a wrong way to use hand sanitizer?
Yeah.
I did learn that this morning. But, you know, I think I do want to reiterate the message that there's a lot that we have to take on individually to try to control or prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And there is no confirmed case in Belize at this time. But these are practices that you have to put in place from now. So you want to protect yourself. You want to protect your family and all your loved ones. So remember to wash your hands, keep your distance, you know, move away from the hugs, get into the elbow bump. We practiced it a bit this morning. And most importantly, though, I'd really love to urge people to verify the information that they're sharing. Not because you see it on Facebook or you get a WhatsApp about it means that it's real. Just give it the benefit of an extra Google search and see if it's real or not before you spread more misinformation, because that's really what seems to be the challenge at this time. It's fighting off the misinformation. There's a Ministry of Health Facebook page if you want to get information from Facebook. There's the World Health Organization. There is CARFA. There's CDC. All of these agencies that have the legitimate information that you can follow. Definitely. So now you know exactly what to do and where to go. We also want to say a big thank you to reps of the World Water Day Committee. It was an excellent conversation with them. We know that the big activity is coming up on March 20, which is next weekend. Next week, Friday, in Punta Gorda, there'll be lots to discuss. There'll be lots to see. Know your waterways, man. And it's best to take care of each other. Take care of your waterways. All right. And a positive disrupt. Man, I love that title. You don't understand. There's a lot of disruptions, but I'm looking for some positive disruption. Yeah. And if you're looking for a positive disruption, leadership may just be the event for you. There are limited spaces available, but do know that there are also scholarships available. There are 100 scholarships that you can take advantage of. You just have to write into them and explain why you feel that you're going to benefit. It is open to people at all different levels of work. You can be an entrepreneur, you can be an employee, you can be the CEO. There are spots that you can pay for to participate as well. But we really do encourage you. Everybody needs a bit of positivity in their life. And if you are starving for it, especially, this is going to be the event for you. Definitely. So we're looking forward to that as well. But we've got to go. If you've got any questions, any concerns at all, you could always drop us a line at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also drop me a line at marlene_oye@channel5belize.com. Find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ. And you could also find us on Instagram at OYE You could always join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes to start your morning right. As per usual, keep your eyes, your minds, and your hearts open. Have a great day, Belize. See you soon.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.